top gardener.
So welcome back to the channel. Today basically we're going to get the Skyline valued for price. So when my renewal's due for my insurance, which is in the next 2 weeks, I can provide a formal document to my insurance company, which is Agent Flux, so we can have an agreed price, because since I bought the Skyline, the market has slightly rose, and I think most people would agree that, you know, if anything does happen, you know, you do have a crash or something really bad happens, you will get the value for the car, which, you know, most people will do with cars that are raising in price or classic cars. So we're on the way to the GTR shop at the moment, because they do accredited valuations. So we're just on the way there at the moment to do that. We have a rough idea maybe how much the car is worth, because I've been in talks with Dave and Az, who work at the GTR shop. And last time we were there, we sort of mentioned the price of the car, but it needs to be formal for me to give it to the insurance company. Also, as I mentioned, I'm with Adrian Flux, and I thought I'd take this opportunity on this video also to talk about the price of the Skyline, which I paid for it. So I'll start with the insurance. I am 25, I'm 26 soon, but when I bought the Skyline I was 25. Actually I was 24, I was nearly 25. But I paid £1,400 with Adrian Flux, and that's limited to 3,000 miles a year. I've only done 1,600 miles in it. You know, that's obviously not a lot really, considering, you know, but I've only been sort of driving the car when I've had a good opportunity to do it. There's no point driving this to the shops and back really. So I've owned the Skyline for almost 1 year, and I paid £35,000 for this car. You know, people might think that's cheap for one of these, people might think it's expensive. This is just a GTR model, it's not a V-spec or any of the other specs they do. This is the base spec. But obviously this car's came with, you know, all the Nismo parts which are genuine. So that sort of made the price, well, it was, in my opinion, and in a few other people's opinions, I paid less than I should have for this car, but definitely did, yeah. Also, as you've probably watched the videos, I've spent money on this car. Some of the parts aren't exactly cheap, but you know, the spoiler wasn't cheap because that was a top secret spoiler. You know, the truss titanium exhaust. I think I've got around £6,000 in the car. This car to me is worth maybe £42,000 or something like that. That's what the car's cost me to have. You know,
so, before we get there, I think it'd be fun if we both guess how much it's worth.
Yeah.
With a count what parts are on it, the current market, the fact that with this being a facelift car, you can tell with the black interior and a few extra parts, that's sort of a little bit more, I would have said.
Yeah, that was one of the main things when I was looking at actually buying a Skyline originally. I've never been a fan of the grey cloth interiors they did, and when I saw looked at this one, that was a massive selling point for me, because I like really subtle interiors. I don't like, you know, the dash, not everything's black, the car's black inside, and just the sort of interior does match with the cloth. So again, like Adam said, that with it being the 2001, the facelift, they all came with that interior, so
yeah. So
it's good.
I'm going to guess 57,000, which is a big increase over what they paid for it.
Yeah.
I think he got it cheap at the time,
Yeah.
and I think the market's definitely gone up quite a lot. I remember when he was looking, I sort of had a good idea of where the market was going, because I'd been watching for a while some of the iconic cars of this period,
Yeah.
and I knew, sort of following suit to sort of the E30 M3 and other sort of cars that were slightly more mature than this one, that it was ready to sort of blow up in value.
Anything like this now is going up in value though. Even the R32, that's maybe just hit a sort of stalemate at the moment in terms of pricing. Over the last 5 years, they've gone up
Yeah, I
a
think
lot of money as well.
After the boom in America,
Yeah.
obviously that driven the price big. Like there was this very steep curve in the price, and then it sort of flattened out a little bit, but it's still climbing slowly.
I think this car maybe, this is my, well, I think it's worth maybe between, I'll say £53,000 for argument's sake. But you know, I've never ever made money on a car, and obviously I haven't bought this car to make money from it. But knowing that I've made nearly sort of 14, if it's going to be £15,000 I've made maybe on this car in a year, that's just unheard of in my opinion. I've never made a profit on a car, but sort of, you know, I didn't buy this car for an investment purpose. I just sort of bought it because, you know, this was my dream car. So
I do remember we were sat looking on the computer that day, and I said, like, you've got to do it now, because if you don't do it now, that's it.
I had the money. That's the point. I saved up for a long time. I did actually specifically save up for a 34 GTR, but I was going to sort of invest into some housing or something instead, or didn't spend all my house on some boring shit. But basically, when we were looking, I was with Adam looking for these at the time, I kind of budgeted £25,000, which I was told was realistic, but looking back now, I think you could have got one.
I think if you'd been 2 or 3 years earlier, definitely. But I'd sort of been, like, I'd checked quite a while before, and there were sort of 25 to 30-ish for a nice one. And it just seemed they're just starting to jump. And Liam, I said, just jump on it now, buy the car now, and like.
Well, that was on my budget, wasn't it?
You will not regret it, even if it is pushing your budget. And the worst comes to worst, and you do have to sell it, you're still going to make money. So.
Well, to be honest, my budget was 30 eventually, because that's the sort of maximum I could stretch. But
then it got pushed again.
But to be honest, I did settle on £30,000 to spend on a car. But when I seen this, I just sort of knew that. Well, to be honest, even back then we weren't as educated probably as to what to look for maybe. But when I sort of knew that, you know, Nismo being the sort of tuner for Nissan, I just sort of knew that, well, it's being looked after. So, you know, that for me was the main thing, because, you know, it's the previous owner had this as their pride and joy. So I knew it was a good car, and obviously through JM Imports, who I bought it from, they wouldn't sell anything that's sort of bad. So just to recap, again, I paid £35,000 for this car. The insurance is with Adrian Flux, which is £1,400 a year, which is limited mileage. I imagine there will be some questions people want to know about this car, because reading some previous comments on other videos, people were asking quite a lot of questions. We would sort of do a Q&A on either our cars, or if you want to sort of know more about us, just let us know. But we've just got to the GTR shop now. We'll take over with the other camera now, so you can have a rough idea of what's going on.
Yeah, what the process of evaluating the car.
Well, we sort of know what will happen, but we've never had this done. I haven't had this done with you. No, so it's new with both of us really. So we'll try and get some cool clips of some cars, because there's always some cool stuff in here.
Hi there, I'm Az from the GTR shop, and today we're going to be doing the insurance valuation on Liam McIntosh's stunning Bayside Blue R34 GTR. You can tell from the get-go that this car has been very well looked after. For example, from Japan through the UK, it has an abundance of Nismo parts, including all of the original Nismo S-Tune suspension with the individual oil galleries. Down to the Nismo intercooler and the underbody braces. One thing that we always look out for on insurance valuations, we go underneath the bonnet, we triple check all of the original numbers, the VIN plates, to make sure that none of them have been tampered with. We then do a full visual walk around the car. We then take notes of individual parts that we can see on the car, and then from there what we do is we take the car out for a test drive ourselves to ensure that the car is healthy and that there's no funny noises, any sort of crunching through gears and so on and so forth, to make sure that we can get the individual valuation correct on each vehicle. Like I said, this stunning vehicle is a Bayside Blue, which is one of the most desirable colours that you can get for an R34 GTR. And like I said, it has got an abundance of parts. Just to name a few, we have the Mines Carbon Defender cooling panel, the Nismo stainless steel hard pipe kit, Nismo hose pipe kit, Nismo carbon fibre air intake pipe, the stunning Nismo LMGT4 alloys, crushed exhaust system, the top secret rear spoiler with the top secret rear leg extensions, has genuine Nismo clocks in the cabin, along it's finished with a Nismo ECU, and I can tell you now that this car will be individually valued at probably around about £60,000 plus, due to the fact that the example of this car would be very hard to find or replace from the current market value in Japan itself.
Okay, so as you heard, as they're speaking from the GTR shop, you basically give it a rough estimate at £60,000, which to be honest with you, I'm like really surprised about. You know, I've never made money on a car before, so I'm really over the moon with that. I'm just a little bit worried about getting the car insured again because it's due in about 2 weeks' time. So I'm hoping that it doesn't massively affect the price of the insurance. But apart from that, you know, I'm really happy with the result of it. I definitely couldn't have afforded this car when I originally bought this. You know, that's ridiculously out of my price budget. Now basically I'm waiting for the GTR shop to just sort of check the market value and sort of the price of the parts, and then I'll get a formal documentation for that. You know, I'd highly recommend people doing that to any car, you know, anything that's sort of maybe gone up in value, or I think people just do it anyway in general, don't they? If you've got a sort of performance car that, you know, if you're really enthusiastic about your cars, it's peace of mind, you know.
The big issue I think is you can go to your insurance company and say, I think my car's worth £50,000, and they won't say anything. And then if you have an accident, they turn around and say, no, it's only worth £30,000.
Yeah.
That's when you run into problems. Whereas if you've got an accredited evaluator to check the car, then there's no argument, because they say this is how much it costs to buy a car, this is how much the parts are worth, and this is how much it costs to replace that car.
videos where we put the lights on the spoiler, the exhaust. You know, the sort of the price for the parts for this car aren't cheap. You can go with a cheaper one.
I was trying to hold a cough for ages.
Start again. Start all again. Start again. I'll repeat myself.
You could
just start again.